Before streaming, before downloads, before MTV even existed, there were songs that stopped you in your tracks. These weren't just hits, they were cultural moments, anthems that defined generations, melodies that became part of the very fabric of R&B history. The 15 songs we're about to explore didn't just top charts, they became permanent fixtures in the American consciousness. These are the records that defined what R&B could be. The songs that made legends out of mortals and turned 3-minute performances into eternal moments.
Tell your mama, tell your pa, gonna sing like
Today we're counting down the 15 most played R&B songs of all time, the records that dominated airwaves, packed dance floors, and earned their place as the most unforgettable classics in soul music history. Number 15. Sexual Healing by Marvin Gaye, 1982.
it's getting stronger and stronger.
Kicking off our countdown at number 15 is a song that arrived at the perfect moment and almost didn't happen at all.
When I get that feeling, I won't set you free.
By 1982, Marvin Gaye was in exile. The Motown legend had fled to Belgium, drowning in debt, depression, and drug addiction.
Get up, get up, get up, let's make love tonight.
His career seemed finished. His voice, once the smoothest in soul music, seemed lost forever. Then, in a small apartment in Ostend, Belgium, something miraculous happened.
Call you up, baby, and honey.
Marvin heard a rhythm track from Belgian musician Odell Brown, and suddenly the genius awakened. Sexual Healing wasn't just Marvin's comeback, it was a complete reinvention. Gone was the socially conscious warrior of what's going on. In his place stood a mature lover, a blending sensuality with spirituality in a way only Marvin could.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, 'cause you do it right.
The production was sparse, a synthesizer bass line, a drum machine, and that voice. That incredible, wounded, yearning voice that could make 4 syllables sound like a symphony.
Healing is something that's good for me.
Radio programmers didn't know what to do with it at first. It was too sensual for some stations, too explicit. But audiences didn't care about the pearl clutching. They wanted that song, the one that made the bedroom feel sacred. Sexual Healing spent 10 weeks at number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100. But more importantly, it became Marvin's signature late career moment, proof that even broken men could create perfect beauty. The song earned Marvin his first 2 Grammy Awards. It sold over 4 million copies. And it introduced a new generation to his genius, many of whom had no idea about "I Heard It Through the Grapevine" or "Let's Get It On." Tragically, Marvin would be dead less than 2 years later, shot by his own father. But Sexual Healing ensured his voice would live forever, smooth, seductive, and utterly irreplaceable. Number 14. Stand By Me by Ben E. King, 1961.
Stand by me, so dark.
At number 14, we have a song that's been featured in over 400 movies and TV shows.
Darling, stand by me.
A song covered by everyone from John Lennon to Seal. A song so universal, it transcends genre entirely. But in 1961, Stand By Me was just another side project. Ben E. King had recently left the Drifters, one of the most successful vocal groups in America.
Night we'll see.
He was trying to establish a solo career, and things weren't going well. His first single flopped. His label was losing patience. Then producers Jerry Leiber and Mike Stoller brought him a melody based on a gospel hymn.
Oh, stand.
The chord progression was simple, almost childlike. But there was something about it, something eternal.
I won't cry. I won't cry.
Ben wrote the lyrics in about 20 minutes, drawing from Psalm 46. When the night has come, and the land is dark.
Stand by me. When all
It wasn't complicated poetry. It was simple, direct, universal. And when Ben's warm, reassuring baritone filled the studio, everyone knew they had something special. Stand By Me is built on one of the most recognizable bass lines in music history, 4 notes that have become shorthand for loyalty, for friendship, for unwavering support.
It's the sky that we look upon.
The strings swell at exactly the right moment. The percussion stays minimal. Everything serves that voice and that message. The song was a moderate hit in 1961, reaching number 4 on the R&B charts. But its true power wouldn't be revealed for another 25 years. In 1986, the song was featured in Rob Reiner's film of the same name. Suddenly, a new generation discovered Benny King. The re-released single went to number 9 on the pop charts, higher than the original. And it became an even bigger hit in the UK, reaching number 1.
Stand by me, stand by me.
Benny King passed away in 2015, but he left behind a gift that will outlive all of us. Stand By Me isn't just a song anymore. It's a promise, a vow, a reminder that even when everything falls apart, someone will be there. And that's a message that never goes out of style.
Should tumble and fall.
Quick question, are you subscribed? If not, you're part of the 99% who watch and disappear. Here's the problem. YouTube won't show you our next video unless you subscribe. So if you want more untold music stories like this, hit that button right now. 2 seconds. Do it before you forget.
No, I won't be a
Number 13, Let's Stay Together by Al Green, 1971. Lucky Number 13 belongs to the Reverend Al Green and the song that made him a household name. Memphis, 1971.
Whatever you want to.
Producer Willie Mitchell was building a new sound at High Records, a sound that would rival Motown and Stax. Smooth, sophisticated, sexy. And he needed the perfect voice to carry it. He found that voice in Al Green. Al was already a talented singer, but Willie Mitchell transformed him into something else entirely. He taught Al to sing between the beats, to let his voice float like a feather over the groove. He taught him to be vulnerable, to seduce without shouting. Let's Stay Together is a masterclass in restraint. The horns barely whisper. The guitar licks are subtle. The drums just suggest the rhythm. Everything creates space for Al's voice to work its magic. And what magic it is. Al doesn't just sing lyrics, he caresses them. When he hits that falsetto on Loving You, you can feel it in your spine. When he drops into his chest voice, it's like honey and gravel mixed together. The song was inspired by Al's relationship with his girlfriend at the time. She wanted commitment. He was hesitant. So he wrote a song about it, a plea for permanence in an impermanent world. Let's Stay Together hit number 1 on both the pop and R&B charts. It stayed on the charts for over 4 months, and it established Al Green as the smoothest man in soul music. Decades later, the song got a second life when Tina Turner covered it for her comeback album, Private Dancer. Her version was grittier, more desperate. It showed how universal Al's original sentiment was. Everyone at some point wants someone to stay. Al Green would go on to become an ordained minister, occasionally leaving secular music behind. But he could never fully escape Let's Stay Together. It's the song they play at weddings, at anniversaries, at moments when love feels eternal. Because sometimes the simplest message is the most powerful. Let's stay together. Number 12, Superstition by Stevie Wonder, 1972. At number 12, we enter the realm of pure genius. Stevie Wonder in the early 70s wasn't just a musician, he was a force of nature. A a one-man studio who played every instrument, wrote every note, and produced every sound. He was redefining what soul music could be, and Superstition was his declaration of independence. The song started with a drum pattern. Stevie was jamming in the studio, messing around with a clavinet, a keyboard instrument that sounds like an electric guitar having a conversation with a harpsichord. He found a riff, a nasty, funky, irresistible riff that demanded a song be built around it. That riff became one of the most recognizable in music history. 3 notes, simple, devastating, impossible to get out of your head. Lyrically, E.G. Superstition was Stevie's response to society's irrational fears. 13-month-old babies, broken mirrors, black cats. Stevie, who had been blind since birth, was calling out people for being scared of things that couldn't hurt them while ignoring real dangers. The message was deeper than it seemed. Stop letting superstition control your life. Stop believing in nonsense. Wake up. But you didn't need to catch the deeper meaning to love Superstition. You just needed ears. That groove is eternal. The horn stabs cut like knives. Stevie's voice slides from smooth to gritty in a single line. And that clavinet, oh, that clavinet, it's the heartbeat of the entire song. Superstition hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. It won Grammys. It became a staple of funk music, rock music, jazz music. Everyone wanted to cover it, and everyone wanted to sample it. Everyone wanted to capture just a fraction of its magic. And here's the wild part. Stevie originally wrote it for Jeff Beck, the legendary guitarist. He recorded a version with Beck on guitar. But when Motown heard it, they said, absolutely not, this is your hit, Stevie. They released it as a Stevie Wonder single, and the rest is history. 11. What's Going On by Marvin Gaye, 1971.
So you can see
Number 11 is the song that changed everything. By 1971, Marvin Gaye was one of Motown's biggest stars. He'd given them hit after hit.
what's going on.
How Sweet It Is. I Heard It Through the Grapevine, Ain't No Mountain High Enough with Tammy Terrell. He was a hitmaker, a crooner, a safe bet.
You see, war's not.
But Marvin was tired of being safe. America was burning. Vietnam was tearing the country apart. Protests filled the streets. His brother had just returned from war, traumatized and broken.
Oh, but who are they?
His duet partner Tammy had died of a brain tumor. Marvin was drowning in grief, and Motown wanted him to keep singing love songs.
Judge us simply 'cause I.
So Marvin said no. He took a song written by Four Tops member Ronaldo Obi Benson, a song about police brutality and social injustice, and made it his own. He layered his voice 3 times, creating a conversation with himself. He added jazz chords, symphonic strings, a groove that felt like a plea and a protest at once.
Bring some understanding here today.
When Berry Gordy, Motown's founder, heard What's Going On, he hated it. He called it the worst thing I've ever heard and refused to release it. Marvin refused to record anything else until they did.
And picket signs, don't punish me.
Eventually, Motown caved. They released What's Going On as a single and watched in shock as it became the fastest-selling Motown record in history.
With brutality, talk to me.
The song opens with the sound of a party, people laughing, talking, enjoying life. Then Marvin's voice enters, smooth and concerned. Mother, mother, there's too many of you crying.
I wanna know what's going.
It's not angry, it's not preachy, it's concerned. Marvin's asking questions, not giving answers. He's inviting conversation, not starting a fight. And the production is lush and layered. Saxophones weep, strings swell, and underneath it all, that bass line, James Jameson's greatest performance, holds everything together like the roots of a tree.
What's going on? Oh, what's going on?
What's Going On wasn't just a hit, it was a cultural earthquake. It proved that R&B could be political, that soul music could have a conscience, that black artists could speak truth to power and still top the charts.
Oh, but who are they to judge?
The song has been covered by everyone from Cyndi Lauper to John Legend. It's been voted the greatest song of all time by Rolling Stone.
Simply 'cause I
It's been inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame, the Library of Congress, and the hearts of millions. And over 50 years later, Marvin's question still echoes. What's going on? We're still trying to answer. 10. Respect by Aretha Franklin, 1967. We've reached the top 10, and at number 10, we have the song that became a battle cry. Otis Redding wrote Respect in 1965. For Otis, it was a man's plea for acknowledgement after a hard day's work. Simple, straightforward, a hit, but not a moment. Then Aretha Franklin got her hands on it. Aretha didn't just cover Respect, she claimed it. She slowed the tempo. She added the iconic RESPECT breakdown. She brought in her sisters Carolyn and Irma for backing vocals that sounded like a gospel choir ready for war. And when Aretha opened her mouth and demanded respect, not asked, demanded, everything changed. This wasn't a woman begging, this was a woman requiring. And you better deliver or get out of the way. Producer Jerry Wexler knew they had lightning in a bottle. The recording session at Muscle Shoals was electric. The band was tight. Aretha was on, and when they finished, everyone in the room knew they'd just witnessed history. Respect was released in April 1967. Within weeks, it was number 1 on both the pop and R&B charts. It stayed there for months. It became the anthem of 2 movements simultaneously, the civil rights movement and the feminist movement. For black Americans fighting for equality, respect was a demand for dignity.
I'm about to give you.
For women fighting for recognition, it was a declaration of worth. Aretha somehow managed to speak to everyone at once and make them all feel seen.
And Elwood, you ain't no good.
The song won Aretha her first 2 Grammy Awards. It's been covered over 200 times. It was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame in 1987.
Just a little bit for me now.
Rolling Stone ranked it number 5 on their list of the greatest songs of all time. But more than accolades, respect became part of the cultural vocabulary. When you spell out RESPECT, everyone knows what you mean. It's shorthand for dignity, for acknowledgement, for refusing to accept anything less than what you deserve. Otis Redding himself admitted defeat. After hearing Aretha's version, he said, "That girl took that song from me." And he was right, because respect doesn't belong to Otis anymore. It doesn't even belong to Aretha. It belongs to every person who's ever been overlooked, every woman who's ever been underestimated, every soul who's ever had to fight for basic human dignity. And that's the power of the Queen of Soul. Number 9, Ain't No Mountain High Enough by Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell, 1967. At number 9, we have the greatest duet in R&B history. Motown in the 60s was a hit factory. Berry Gordy had the formula down to a science. Great songs, great singers, great production. But even in a catalog full of classics, Ain't No Mountain High Enough stands out.
If you need me, call me, no matter where.
The song was written by the legendary team of Nicholas Ashford and Valerie Simpson, who were also a real-life couple.
You are, no matter how far.
Don't worry, babe.
They understood chemistry, they understood romance, and they wrote a song that perfectly captured the feeling of unstoppable love.
Just call my name, I'll be there in a hurry.
Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell were Motown's golden couple, though they were never romantically involved. Their voices blended like honey and silk. When they sang together, it sounded effortless, like breathing. And Ain't No Mountain High Enough is pure joy from the first note. The strings sweep you off your feet. The horns punctuate every declaration. And Marvin and Tammy trade lines like lovers finishing each other's sentences.
I'll be there on the double, just send for me.
The message is simple but powerful. Nothing can keep me from you. No mountain, no valley, no river. I will be there. It's a promise, a vow, the kind of love that feels mythological. The song reached number 19 on the pop charts in 1967, a solid hit, but not their biggest. That would come later with Ain't Nothing Like the Real Thing and You're All I Need to Get By.
If you ever need a helping hand.
But Ain't No Mountain High Enough had staying power. In 1970, Diana Ross released a solo version that turned the song into a 7-minute epic, complete with a spoken word intro.
Ain't no valley low enough.
Her version hit number 1 and became her signature song. Yet it's the Marvin and Tammy version that remains definitive, because their chemistry was real, their joy was genuine, and tragically, their time together was short.
Ain't no valley low enough.
Tammy Terrell collapsed into Marvin's arms during a performance in 1967, the victim of a brain tumor. She would battle the disease for 3 years before passing away in 1970 at just 24 years old.
You don't have to worry, 'cause baby, there ain't no.
Marvin never fully recovered. He refused to perform with another duet partner. The loss sent him into a depression that would fuel What's Going On, but would haunt him for the rest of his life.
Mountain high enough. Ain't no.
Ain't No Mountain High Enough became a bittersweet reminder of what was lost, of a partnership that should have lasted decades, of a voice silenced far too soon.
From that day on, I made a vow.
But when you hear that song when Marvin and Tammy promise that nothing will keep them away, you believe them. And for 3 minutes and 20 seconds, love really does conquer all.
I set you free. I told you you could.
Number 8, I'll Be There by the Jackson 5, 1970. Number 8 takes us to 1970 and the moment the Jackson 5 proved they were more than just a bubblegum act. By late 1970, the Jackson 5 had already scored 3 consecutive number 1 hits with I Want You Back, ABC, and The Love You Save. They were the hottest act in America, but critics dismissed them as a kids group, cute, catchy, but not serious. Then came I'll Be There. Written by Berry Gordy, Hal Davis, and Willie Hutch, I'll Be There was a departure from the Jackson 5's usual sound. It was slower, softer, more emotional, and it rested entirely on the shoulders of 11-year-old Michael Jackson. Michael's voice on I'll Be There is stunning. He's a child, but he sings with the wisdom of someone who's lived a lifetime. When he promises, I'll be there to comfort you, you believe him. When he hits that final note pure, clear, impossibly high, it takes your breath away. The production is simple but perfect. An acoustic guitar, soft strings, a subtle bass line, and that voice, that miraculous voice filling every space. I'll Be There wasn't just another hit. It was the Jackson 5's biggest single ever. It topped the charts for 5 weeks, It sold over 6 million copies worldwide. And it became the group's signature ballad, the song that showcased their range and depth. Decades later, Mariah Carey would cover it with Trey Lorenz, scoring another #1 hit in 1992. Countless others would try their hand at it, but nobody could capture the innocence and purity of Michael's original performance. I'll Be There is a song about unconditional support, about being present for someone no matter what. About loyalty in its purest form, and for millions of fans, the Jackson 5 kept that promise. They were there through the 70s, the 80s, and beyond.
I keep holding on.
Michael would become the king of pop. His brothers would carve their own paths. But in 1970, they were just 5 brothers from Gary, Indiana, singing a simple promise: I'll be there. And we believed them.
Yes, I will.
Number 7. My Girl by The Temptations, 1964.
What can make me feel?
At number 7, we arrive at Pure Sunshine in musical form. Smokey Robinson was already a Motown legend when he wrote My Girl for The Temptations. As the leader of the Miracles and Motown's vice president, Smokey had a golden touch. But My Girl was different. It was personal. Smokey wrote it for his wife, Claudette.
Oh, the richest baby.
He wanted to capture that feeling, the one where the whole world disappears and all that matters is her. The one where even a cloudy day feels bright because she's in it. The Temptations were the perfect group to bring Smokey's vision to life. David Ruffin's lead vocal is tender and confident. The harmonies are pristine, and that bass line created by the legendary James Jamerson is one of the most recognizable in music history. My Girl opens with those iconic guitar licks. I Played by Robert White, bright, cheerful, impossible not to smile at. Then David Ruffin's voice enters, warm as summer.
Much honey, the bees in the bee.
I've got sunshine on a cloudy day. Everything about My Girl is perfect. The strings swell at exactly the right moment. The hand claps keep the groove light, and the chorus simple, direct, unforgettable is pure joy. When the song was released in December 1964, it shot to #1 on both the pop and R&B charts. It stayed there for weeks. It became the Temptations' signature song and established them as Motown's premier male group. My Girl has been covered over 500 times. Everyone from the Rolling Stones to Otis Redding to Boys the Sekou. Men has tried their hand at it. It's been featured in countless movies and TV shows. It was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame in 1998. But here's what makes My Girl truly special. It never gets old. You can hear it 1,000 times and it still makes you feel good.
I've got a sweeter song.
It still makes you want to call someone you love and tell them how much they mean to you.
Than the birds in the tree.
Because My Girl isn't complicated. It's not trying to be deep or profound. It's just a man saying, you make my life better. You make the dark days bright. You are my everything. And sometimes that's all a song needs to be. Number 6. I Heard It Through the Grapevine by Marvin Gaye, 1968. We've reached number 6 and one of the most dramatic stories in Motown history. I Heard It Through the Grapevine was written by Norman Whitfield and Barrett Strong in 1966.
It's true, it's true. Funky. Oh, Frank, you don't tell me my lady.
Motown recorded multiple versions trying to find the right fit. Gladys Knight and the Pips released the first version in 1967, and it was a hit, reaching #2 on the pop charts. Berry Gordy thought that was the definitive version, case closed. But Marvin Gaye had recorded his own version a year earlier, darker, slower, more ominous. Motown shelved it. They said it was too different, too intense, not commercial enough. Marvin was furious. He knew his version was special. He fought to get it released. Berry Gordy refused. Then a strange thing happened. A radio DJ in Chicago got hold of Marvin's version from a promotional album and started playing it. The phone lines exploded. People wanted that version, the dark, haunting, devastating one. Motown had no choice. They released Marvin's Grapevine in late 1968, and it became the biggest hit in Motown history up to that point. Marvin's version is a masterpiece of tension and paranoia. That opening bass line is menacing. The percussion sounds like a heartbeat speeding up. The strings create a sense of dread, and Marvin's vocal performance is a clinic in controlled anguish. When he sings "I Heard It Through the Grapevine," he's not gossiping, he's devastated, betrayed. The news that his girl is leaving him didn't come from her, it came from whispers, rumors, the worst way to find out. The song is 7 minutes of building intensity. Every verse adds another layer of pain, every chorus hits harder. By the end, Marvin sounds like he's barely holding it together. I Heard It Through the Grapevine spent 7 weeks at #1. It sold over 4 million copies. It became Motown's biggest-selling single of the 60s and one of the most played songs of all time. Decades later, it would find new life in commercials, movies, and samples. Everyone from Creedence Clearwater Revival to Gladys Knight to the California Raisins would cover it. But nobody, and I mean nobody, matched the raw emotion of Marvin's original. Because Marvin didn't just sing Grapevine, he lived it, he felt it, and he made us feel it too. That's the mark of a true artist, and that's why Marvin Gaye was one of the greatest to ever do it. #5, Let's Get It On by Marvin Gaye, 1973. At #5, we turn up the heat. After the artistic and commercial triumph of What's Going On, Marvin Gaye could have done anything.
Let's get on.
He could have continued making socially conscious music. He could have played it safe. Instead, he made the sexiest album of all time. Let's Get It On was Marvin's return to romance, but not the innocent romance of his early career. This was adult, raw, unapologetically sensual. The title track was written by Marvin and Ed Townsend, and it's a masterclass in seduction. The groove is slow and hypnotic. The bass line throbs like a pulse. The strings caress every phrase.
Oh, come on.
And Marvin's voice, oh, that voice moves from a whisper to a plea to a command.
Since we got to be here.
Let's Get It On is direct in a way that shocked audiences in 1973. Marvin isn't hinting, and he's not using metaphors, he's saying exactly what he wants. I've been really trying, baby, trying to hold back this feeling for so long. The production is minimalist by Motown standards. There's space in the arrangement room for breath, for anticipation, for desire to build. Everything serves the mood. When Let's Get It On was released as a single, it went straight to #1. It stayed on the charts for months, and it became one of the most recognizable opening bars in music history. 3 notes on a keyboard, and you know exactly what's coming. The album Let's Get It On would go on to sell over 3 million copies. It established Marvin as the master of sensual soul. And the title track became the soundtrack to countless intimate moments, a song that turned romance into art. But Let's Get It On isn't just about sex. Listen closely, and you'll hear something deeper. Marvin's singing about connection, about dropping the pretense and being vulnerable with someone, about letting passion and emotion merge into something transcendent.